I have played Fae Farm, and I absolutely... Hey friends, I'm Ashley and welcome to Ash's Cozy Corner. You most likely clicked on this video because you want to know if Fae Farm is worth the price, or you may be new here and you're wondering what the heck Fae Farm is. Fae Farm is an upcoming farming and life sim adventure game including fairies, which I think is just a super unique take for a farm sim. Here's the official description of the game. Escape to the world of Fae Farm and create your own cozy home in the enchanted world of Azoria. As you nurture and grow your homestead, you'll get to meet charming characters, foster deep relationships, and discover ways to infuse magic into everything you do. Customize your character, master the arts of crafting, cooking, potion making, and discover so much more. Phoenix Labs is the amazing group of people who created this game, and they were so kind and sent me an early copy to try out, and that was a literal dream come true. I literally almost cried. This early copy included 4 chapters of the story, but don't worry, I will not be including any story spoilers in this video. If you have any specific questions about Fae Farm that I may not go over, you can drop them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer anything you may be curious about. So in Fae Farm, you start out in the beautiful land of Azoria. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this game is all about fairies and magic, which I think is so unique for a farming sim. It's definitely not your basic, let's just move to the country farm sim, but it's still just as peaceful in Azoria. Honestly, when I first started the game, I immediately just wanted to explore every single crevice, and I pretty much have explored everywhere that I can, and it did not disappoint. If any of you all have played Final Fantasy IX, I'm getting Alexandria vibes from Azoria, which is an amazing compliment to the world. Honestly, the graphics and aesthetics of this game I have loved since seeing the first trailer, so I'm kind of biased, but just know that the graphics fit into the gameplay and feel of Azoria perfectly, and I couldn't ask for anything more. I'm constantly finding myself just wanting to explore around more, and when I finally play the full game, I'm so excited to see where else we can explore. With that, let's get into my mini review of what I loved and what I didn't love about Fae Farm. Let's talk about a few movement and camera pros and cons first. You can't fly in Fae Farm. However, the movement of your character is pretty free. There really isn't anywhere on the map you can't reach because there are mushrooms laying around that help you jump higher, you can swim in the water, and you can jump off cliffs anywhere and you don't take fall damage. I actually found myself exploring around on roofs of houses a lot because of this. However, because you can do that, I find myself accidentally falling off cliffs when I'm trying to pick berries or just doing random things. So that's a pro and a con for me, as I love being able to jump and explore everywhere, but I hate just falling off on accident. For the camera, it is like wildflowers and it is stuck in one place. You cannot move it around your character. Again, this is a very tiny thing that isn't a big issue, just a personal preference. I'm constantly trying to move the camera and realize every single time that I just can't. Just something to get used to, and it is probably just my personal preference anyway. I'm definitely trying to cover everything for you all, so let's talk about the game's performance. I played the game on Steam and so far have had no issues at all with lag or frame rate issues. The controls are smooth and work great, other than I feel like X replaces A, but that's something I'm sure you'll be able to change if you change the controller mapping. The initial loading screen when logging onto the game is a tad long, but other than that, I have had no performance issues whatsoever. I will be playing it on Nintendo Switch when it releases on September 8th, but I cannot say anything for that system yet. Now that we've talked about graphics, performance, controls, things like that, let's get into the meat of the game, which are things like farming, mining, fishing, and other skills like that. Surprisingly, you have a lot of skills you can level, 10 so far to be exact, and you can see all of those in the menu. You have mining, logging, farming, fishing, foraging, critter collecting, animal care, cooking, potion brewing, and magic levels. I feel like this was such a nice surprise to have so many, and of course, as a completionist, I want to do everything. I started out with fishing, and it is completely different than any other game I've played. You have to aim where you want to throw and how far you want it to go. Then you throw in the line, and you have to attract the fish by jiggling the lure, finally get the fish on the line, and then reel it in slowly, all the while making sure you don't break the line. It's honestly the most in-depth fishing I've seen in a farming sim, and I love it, and I love the challenge. Thank you, Phoenix Labs, for making fishing more than just one button. Next up is mining. The mines are where you'll experience enemies and combat. First, I want to say just how beautiful the first mine is. Waterfalls, greenery, puddles of water. It's not just a brown cave you go in. The only tools available to use down here are easily swapped, as you can only use the pickaxe, shovel, and the weapon, so don't worry about misplacing your weapon and getting hurt. This is a perfect quality of life, especially since you do have to swap from pickaxe to weapon so quickly. There is a menu for the dungeons called Dungeon Tracker that is so handy, and it shows you the items that you can possibly find on that level, as well as the chances of finding specific items, so like low, very low, etc. For those of you worried about the combat, please know that so far, it's been super easy and doesn't take any skill. The enemies show you when and where they're going to attack with an area of effect signal, so the combat really doesn't make the game stressful, and I wouldn't worry about it at all. Also, the only place I have seen a single enemy is in the mines, so you don't have to fight things anywhere else. We have all of the rest of the amazing skills that you can level up, but I probably won't talk about each one specifically, maybe just a sentence or two, because if I talked about them all, it would take ages. The bug catching is very similar to Animal Crossing and very enjoyable. Farming is a little different than normal farm sims, as you can make garden beds or flower beds and even more, and you also have flower breeding, which again, thank Animal Crossing, which is an addition to this game I didn't see coming, but I cannot wait to do more of. Logging, animal care, and cooking are basically self-explanatory, but the cooking has a lot of good quality of life additions, like being able to cook things in huge batches and not just one at a time. The magic in this game I have barely touched on, but what I have seen of it, it is really handy in mining and farming, just saying. I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't say too much. Potion making hasn't been on my list yet, so I'll talk about that in a future video. Just a random thought to throw in, but the shopkeepers seem to stay open all day and into the night and don't have a day that they're closed. So that's another quality of life addition that I loved. Just remember, this isn't super far into the game, but one of the flaws I did see in Fae Farm was the friendships. I do remember them saying they put more effort into the marriageable candidates, so maybe that's why, but the friendship in this game doesn't seem as important as other farm sims. The storekeepers in this game actually don't even have friendships at all, but there is a list of other NPCs that do. Now, this isn't really a deal breaker for me, as sometimes it can be kind of stressful to have to friend everyone and give gifts 24/7, but also I love seeing friendship between my playable character and other characters grow, like for example Stardew Valley. So if you're looking for a farm sim that is super focused on relationships, this game probably isn't for you. But something that may eradicate that downside for you is that it does have really good story and lore so far. The story quests are very important to continue the game, so far anyway, and the story quests will give you and lead you to more skills and important things you'll want, so definitely don't ignore those. I'm saying this up to chapter 4, but I'm sure it's still as important to continue the story until the main end. It's a really cute story so far, and I cannot wait to see how everything unfolds, but just learning little tidbits about Azoria really makes me feel more connected to the world. The dialogue for the story and side quests also all have quite a bit of humor in them. Nothing so far has been too serious, which I am all for more laughter in my life. One last thing, I have not played multiplayer. For Fae Farm, that was a big deal and one of the biggest things that was advertised. I may play multiplayer with my community, but honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed playing it by myself, and it doesn't need to have multiplayer for me to enjoy it. It is an amazing bonus that I may try out in the future, however. So after all of that, let's talk about the real question. Is Fae Farm worth the money? I've seen this question all over the internet, and I want to answer it honestly without anyone getting mad at me. First off, you can get Fae Farm on Steam for $40, which is around a typical price for a farm sim. Think Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons. And before you think it, Phoenix Labs is a AAA game studio that specializes in multiplayer games, not just a random indie company. There's also a $60 version, which also comes with, from what I understand, 2 big DLC packs. The Nintendo Switch physical version is also $60, but it comes with the 2 big DLC packs already added on. I totally understand not having it in the budget or not wanting to pay $60, but if I'm going to be honest with you all, this game is worth $60, especially since it has the 2 DLC packs coming. Even without those, guys, I would have paid $60. Here's why. The team on this game spent years working on it. They believe in it. And I feel like I can truly feel the love and charm they put into Fae Farm. I think it's totally unfair to compare a farm sim to an open world game based on price. For a farming game, from what I have played of it, is one of the most full farming games I have ever played. Therefore, I think it is worth the higher price for a farming sim. This game is absolutely full of content. The graphic style is so cute. It has so many customization and color options. The music is beautiful. The sound effects are beautiful. I will be spending hundreds of hours in this game. Like I said, I'm totally understanding of people not wanting it because of their budget or just not wanting to pay that, but I truly don't understand the hate for a game because of a price before it releases and you get to experience it yourself. Again, if you have any questions about Fae Farm, about anything specific, something I didn't go over, or just a random question, let me know in the comments below and I will do my best to answer it. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a cozy day and God bless.